The Trans-Tasman bubble on hold, of course. Possibility it might come back state by state. So how big a headache is this for the national airline? So far, we've cancelled 89 flights to and from Australia. Daily flights have dropped from 30 down to 10. Air New Zealand CEO Greg Foran back with us. Greg, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Was this always a distinct possibility?
It sure was. So we were ready as you can be for these things, but there was always a risk this was going to occur.
What sort of logistics are required?
Significant. So when we get the call on a Saturday evening, as we did, then the team get up and running, and we've got to think about flights that are about to depart, both sides, flights that are in the air. Where do we want the planes to end up? Where do we want our staff to end up? What are we going to do with call centres? We had 14,000 calls just on Sunday alone. So it's a sort of full company fight, if you like, to get back on stead.
What's the bottom line damage so far?
Well, as you can imagine, for a few days, it's not all that significant. I have spoken previously about getting the Tasman open, and then Rarotonga was a chance for the organisation to move from survive into revive. Depending on how long this goes will depend on the impact. But, if we're in there for a few days, then it's not all that significant. We did forecast that, this coming financial year, which begins in just a day's time, was also going to be challenging. So we know we're going to be dealing with this in the future. And so, we're prepared for it.
At this point, you don't really know, I suppose, whether the tickets you did sell are cancelled or whether they're just postponed.
Well, for a lot of people, they're still buying non-refundable tickets, and of course they go straight into credit. What we are seeing, Mike, is a real interest by Kiwis to get out there and travel. So although this is far from ideal, I do remain encouraged that as we start to get on top of this, people are going to get out and fly. We're seeing some really healthy loads coming into the July school holidays.
And you're talking Tasman as opposed to domestic or domestic?
Well, I'm talking Tasman as well. So, as domestic has gone through its series of lockdowns through the year, people bounce back. And I would expect exactly the same thing to occur in the Tasman. We've already seen that play out to Perth and Melbourne. So, not ideal, but I remain optimistic that people want to travel.
Good. The state-by-state part of the Prime Minister's right, and they open it state-by-state, is that a nightmare for you?
Oh, it becomes a little bit of a challenge, doesn't it? But once again, we know that's the way it operates. We've known that now for many months. So we work closely with the officials on both sides and make sure that we get everything lined up.
While I've got you, as Singapore, the talks between Singapore as an airlines and Australia's dead in the water, as I was reading the other day, but they've reached out to us at government level to try and do something. Are you involved in that in any way, shape or form? Do you see any hope for us in Singapore?
It's certainly a topic that has come up in discussion, and there are various groups working pretty diligently now on what do we need to do to get this thing open, and what sort of steps and stages do we need to work through. People are talking on that. There's various discussions. I'm involved in some today, tomorrow, next week. Singapore is on the cards, and we'll just need to work our way through it.
Because was it Taiwan you announced last week?
That's a cargo flight, and so we are flying up to cargo. We've had a couple of those flights go, and passengers who want to go to Taiwan can actually jump on those planes.
Good stuff. Appreciate it very much, Greg Foran, Chief Executive of Air New Zealand.